Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey Podcast, the podcast where me and my brother Charlie talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL. And we got a jam-packed episode. We actually interviewed our first goalkeeper, netminder, on the podcast. Jordan Mclaughlin joined us, and it was a quality interview, wasn't it, Charlie? He gave some really good answers, some tricky questions.
Yeah, it's a good interview. It was interesting interview on a netminder, and yeah, he's a proper sound guy.
Yeah, it was really good. So we'll cut that in at the end. So if you do want to skip to it, you can, but you're going to miss out on all the gossip, all the transfer news, which we're going to go into in a minute. Dan can't be with us today, but he will definitely be on for when we do the team episodes, which are going to be coming closer and closer because a lot of the rosters are nearly complete. And I know we say this every week, and there's some signings which Charlie's going to be like, "Oh my goodness, that was a while ago," but there's been so many signings in the last week as well, and news. So we're going to crack straight into it. If you are new, make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe, follow all our socials at Macca's Talk Hockey. We're going to be hopefully going all season this season, whether it's me, whether it's Charlie, whether it's Dan, Dad. So yeah, let's crack into it. So the first one was Barry to Sheffield. Now, obviously, he left Leeds. Sorry, not Leeds. He left Hull. And he's joined back to Sheffield, Charlie. And it's another D man who you know can do a job at this level, and I think that's a pretty good signing for Sheffield.
Yes, it's not bad. I was wondering where their D were going to come from,
Yeah,
having Bauer retired, Hayward gone. So taking one off their rivals is never a bad thing. I don't think Barry's a bad player. I'd probably say he's more of a third line D for them,
yeah.
but we'll see who the other signings are. I'd assume Cooper comes back. And then I think they probably need one more D to solidify.
Turner could possibly come back as well.
But yeah, it's definitely not a bad signing, and he'll do a job there.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, we do talk about the import goalies, so they'll be coming up soon. We did ask Jordan McLaughlin about the import netminders, and yeah, a lot of good questions. But going back to it to another D man, and that is Dewey to the Raiders. Again, another player who's been around this league. He's been at Romford the last couple seasons, and I think that's quite a key one. We were talking about it downstairs actually before recording about how he's quite important for Raiders because he's another one who's staying and he can play on that third line or he can step up to second line, can't he, Charlie?
I think Dewey's a good signing piece. We know Raiders are going to be a team fighting probably for that eighth place. He's an experienced D man. He knows what to do. He's made playoffs for many years in a row. And I say in it, I say what I said in the lounge. I think he'd be the type of D man which a team like Bristol would need. He's just experienced. He defends. He dumps it. He doesn't do anything special, but he doesn't make many mistakes. And he's a good addition to them in a team which has lost a lot of players.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned they got three D men. They've got Pascal, Dewey, and Ralph now. So they're building up a bit of a decor, and they made a signing today, which we'll go into in a bit. And another D man, and this is one of the top D men. I don't think he actually gets spoken about enough. Actually, how good of a D man he is, and that is James Griffin for Milton Keynes. And I think this is very key because he is probably going to be their top D man this season, unless they sign an import D. But you can rely on James. As I said, he can go. He can give you a lot of points. He always gets a lot of points for Milton Keynes, but he's not afraid to throw his body around as well, Charlie.
Yeah, he's one of the best D in the league. And MK would have, yeah, he was always going back.
Yeah,
We know what we're getting. He'll be in their top four. He'll do a good job, and yeah, he's part of a strong team.
yeah, absolutely. And another D man, and this one I'm gonna absolutely butcher this name. Christianis Fugalis. I'm sure it's not pronounced like that. But he counts as a British trained player because he did play in Britain in his junior career, and Leeds have signed him. And this kind of explains maybe Bailey having that two-way, Charlie. With this young lad coming in who's been playing abroad, and he looks pretty good, doesn't he? But he's a young lad, so it will be interesting to see how he fits in the men's system.
Oh, it's a brilliant signing from Leeds, and I have no doubts that he'll fit straight in like a glove to Leeds. Um, it is just a brilliant signing, and like either him or Bailey Perry is their seventh D this year. and saying that is just insane. Their decor has definitely taken a step up.
Yeah.
They've got more depth in it. And Leeds want to win the league again. They want a three-peat, and add in 18, 19-year-old, 6'2".
No, he's 20. He's 21, which I actually think
21.
is a bit better because it's a bit more experience. He's
He'll
6 foot.
he'll skate well. Yeah, it's unbelievable signing.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
he's had
It's
a bit
great
of
to-
his 3 seasons are actually with Swindon, so he probably knows Ryan Aldridge. That probably does help. I know he played with Ollie Endicott, I think. So that's quite a good link. He'll know people in the dressing room, and I think any young lad is going to be able to fit into that Leeds dressing room because they're just glue. They're together, and yeah, that's why they win so much as well. But yeah, that's a really really good signing. Playing in Toronto, playing in Latvia. When they did make the Latvian teaser, I thought, is it going to be Rutgers who goes to them? But it is this young D man. So yeah, a very good signing for Leeds. One who used to play for Leeds, the Chiefs, who's gone back to Solway, is Joe Coulter. Now I think this is an interesting one, Charlie. Because obviously he didn't play for Solway last season. He's a 29-year-old forward. He brings a bit of experience back to Solway. He played in the NIHL 1, got good points. He got a point per game in the NIHL 1. So it could be a bit of experience, point scoring added onto that Solway team.
I think for me, it's more he adds a good third line player.
Yeah.
He'll do his job. He'll be solid. He's not going to break into their top six. He's not going to score 30, 40 points, but he's going to score 10 to 15 points, maybe 20 points, and he will do a job.
He brings leadership. He was actually assistant captain at Leeds for the Chiefs, and
He
then the
was
first
coach
season of the
with
Knights as well. So
he
he'll
was
bring a lot
coach
of
of
leadership.
Widnes as well.
Yeah.
He was a player coach for Widnes Wild. I believe he was successful there. So yeah, no, I think it's a very good signing. And I think he'll do a good job at the team he's going to.
And he's a Scottish lad, so that helps as well. That he fits this straight into a glove in that Solway team. Right, I've got the first import netminder, and this one's definitely got the best one on paper, and that is Mr. Tommy Napier. Now, Charlie, I think you're going to be doing the elite prospects. I'll get him up as well. But just to talk through this is the second import netminder which got announced, and this guy's played in the AHL, Charlie, is that right?
Mhm.
Which is the second league below the NHL. And you do get a lot of goalkeepers going in and out of that league, but the fact he's played at that level and played against some top players who are looking to get into the NHL, I think just shows the experience he's got. But Charlie, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, he looks really good on paper. It's always good saying it on paper. He's 6'3". He's a bigger boy. He played NCAA for Ohio, which is a really good NCAA league. Played with many NHLers in his AHL days. Just to name maybe one or two. He played with Drew O'Connor, who played with Crosby last year. Many Pittsburgh boys. Frederick Goodrow, who obviously plays for the Minnesota Wild. So yeah, he's got some cool players he's played with, which is always exciting. And I think Bristol needed an import goalie.
Yeah.
They've got a good import goalie, but they need to protect him.
Yeah.
He is going to do well, and he is going to be, on paper, he should be the best goalie in the league. He should.
He should, yeah. It's
but,
ridiculous. I'll read out another stat in a minute, Charlie.
But at the same time, as said in our interview later, he's going to be going to some weird rinks. And if Bristol do what they did last year, I'll say it how it is, you're still not going to win many games if you concede 40 to 45 shots a night.
Yeah.
He's not going to have a 97 save percentage and concede 1 or 2 goals a night. So they have to really listen to him, let him lead his defense, let his defense be in the lanes that he wants him to be, and build the team around him, and they can get some good results. They've just got to make sure that they protect him as a goalie, because he will steal them games if he's given the resources.
The stat which I think is actually ridiculous. So the NCAA, just to put it in perspective, the NCAA forwards, they go into, a lot of them get signed by elite league teams. And he played in the NCAA 4 seasons. And the first season he only played 6 games. He got a .956 save percentage. And then he played 20 games, 32 and 24 in the 3 seasons after. And these are only 2, 3 years ago. He got a 934 save percentage, a 932, and a 906. So if he can, I do believe that he will be able to steal more games than Ben Norton. Absolutely, he will. And this is no disrespect to Norton. He's 19 years old. He was playing every single game for Bristol, getting 45 shots, as Charlie just said. I think this guy will probably be able to steal a few more games as a goalkeeper. But you've also got what Jordan says. I'm not going to spoil it, but you're getting different type of shots. You ain't getting those typical shots you're getting in the AHL, and those can be the ones which trick you because you're like, oh, I'm expecting a lot of power, and he's just put out a weird little forehand, or a backhand shot, and it's like I didn't expect it to go there, and those can be quite difficult maybe to first understand. But I think once he settles into the league, Charlie, it'll be very interesting, and that is very very good development. I know we talk about backups playing, but if Tyler LaBouche is learning off a guy who's played in the AHL, that can only be a pretty good thing for him. So I'd be quite excited for Tyler. Hopefully, he can get a few games. What did you think about that?
I think the point I'll end on with this import goalie is he's not going to want to lose every game.
No.
From what I heard, I spoke to Banners about it. He did actually play last year,
Yeah, he did.
even though it says
On Elite Prospect said he didn't, but he did, didn't he?
he played in Slovakia, but he left. I don't know how much truth there is behind that or not, but if I will they keep him? I say that in an honest way. If they start the season and they lose 9 out of 12 games or 10 out of 12 games, is he going to get frustrated? Is he going to get annoyed? Is he going to say, "No, I can't do this"? So there's that worry for me from just
A
if I
Bristol
was
point
a
of view.
Bristol fan. But he is a stud goalie, and they needed him because the team around him looks okay, but they need a guy who can win them games single handedly.
I think it's interesting. They've got Butler, and I think that's very big. Butler as well. I think him and Butler are going to have to be bang on with each other, and those two, I think, will probably be best mates in terms of they know those two are the big boys at the back, which are going to help those youngsters. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of question marks on these import goalkeepers, whether they'll be able to do it in this British league. But on paper and the stats and the league he's played in, the players he's played against, which are considerably better than the players in the NIHL, he's done a very, very good
Because
job.
the
So
thing is with Peterborough and their import netminder that he's going to be protected and that he's going to be looked after, and that in games he's not going to get hung out to dry. He'll get hung out to dry on one hand, whereas in Bristol you don't know, and that is a big thing because your goalie does have to have a D in front of him, and I think Bristol's D looks better this year than it did last year. There's a couple unknowns, but yeah, they just have to really protect him, and they have to make sure that he's able to win games. You
it's,
can't
it's
go.
It's interesting though because he's decided to come and play for Bristol, knowing that they finished rock bottom last season. So he would have. It's not like he's coming into this unknown. He will know the circumstances that Bristol will face that amount of shots every game. That they did finish bottom last season. So I think he knows what he's getting into, and maybe this is his way of going. Oh, I want to show what I'm about here, and maybe if he does light it up, maybe he's looking at an elite league team. We don't know what the plans are, and this is all the question marks from it. But it is a very, very good signing, and he could steal a few games for Bristol. That's what I think he could do. And maybe they don't have as much forward depth as some of the other teams, some of the top teams, but he's a ridiculous goalkeeper on his CV and his paper. So we'll have to see. It's a very interesting one, and we do talk about it a bit in the interview. On to Reef Smethan and Ben Davies. Smethan signed a 3-year, and Ben Davies has signed a 1-year with Bristol. Ben Davies, we obviously kind of know from the Milton Keynes Lightning, but he was playing a bit with the Thunder. He didn't really get too much game time, and we don't really know too much about Reef Smethan, do we, Charlie? I know he's played in Canada a bit.
I like the look of Reece Smethan. I'm not going to lie. 3-year contract, I think, is good for him.
Yeah,
But in the same league as the Leeds D-man,
Christianis Fuganis.
I think Smethan will have good potential. Ben Davies, I also think, has got good potential. And like we said, I said this about Bristol when I was talking about the goalie. It's just a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how good he's going to be. Ben Davies played for a couple games for Milton Keynes, but didn't really get a chance. But then played for MK Thunder, and in the nicest possible way, they lost, I think, every game bar one or two. So he's not really going to be able to show what he's capable of on a team which hasn't got much around him.
Yeah.
So now he's got players around him in the National League. We'll see.
Yeah.
So they're both unknowns, but they're good talents, and they'll need some of the experienced players like Butler, Barry McKenzie to help them out.
Yeah. The next one I've got on my list, should we go on to the Bees goalkeeper then? I haven't actually put it on my notes. That is poor from Jack, considering he is the podcast host. But I'm just finding him now. Charlie, do you want to get his elite prospects? I believe his name's Wright. Yeah, Max Wright. So he's another Canadian goalkeeper. He's not played in as much top leagues as Napier, but he still looks like a pretty decent goalkeeper, Charlie. Am I calling it right as a goalkeeper? Do they call him goalkeepers in ice hockey? Is it goalie or netminder?
So
Goaltender.
he's a netminder. He's only 25.
Yeah.
He's from Canada. And the other one was from America, if you're wondering.
Yeah.
And he played in
the U Sports guy. Yeah.
played in the U Sports, which is a good league. Played in some good youth leagues. He played 3 seasons in the U Sports. His first year was a COVID year. His stats were okay.
9.2's not too bad actually.
Yeah, the next year he had an 8.91, which isn't great, but you know it's difficult to judge.
It's not too bad.
It's difficult to judge. Them leagues.
We don't know what the averages were in that league.
Them leagues, the save percentages are normally higher than our league. Our league is a lower save percentage league compared. If you look at the elite league, the save percentage is higher. But he's on an interesting team this year. They are having a rebuild in D, you could say, adding Marcus Mitchell and Ty Kafka. So again, it goes back to the Bristol goalie. The guy's gonna have talent. He's not going to be rubbish. You don't play in the Canadian leagues and be rubbish. So he's going to be a talented goalie. But does he have the decor in front of him to protect him is another question. And so he is going to have to protect him. Forwards are going to have good two-way games.
Yeah.
And, it is down to that. Your goalie is only as good as your defense. If you give away too many grade A chances, he is going to concede and it's going to get in his own head. So, it's about his D protecting him, but I think on paper he looks the worst out of the 3. But it's so difficult to judge on paper.
He could end up being the best out of the 3 and actually playing. But the thing with the import netminders, this is why it's so hard to judge on paper before we've even watched him in the season. Because I remember Hull signed an import goalie a few seasons ago, and I talked about this yesterday actually. They signed him and he didn't do very well, did he, Charlie? And I remember the game in Swindon. I think we put like 8 past him. He picked up the goalie little peg, which you put the pole in, and he threw it at Matthews. I think he just got so annoyed because it's definitely not what he expected. So yeah, it's very interesting with the import netties. And I think the only advantage to Leving or Levinga for Peterborough is that he's actually played in the English leagues, the British leagues. He's been around that environment. He knows the different rinks. He knows the different arenas. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting. That's all we can keep saying about it, and until we actually watch them play. And obviously, it's about the team in front of them as well, which I think you've tried to get across, Charlie. Can the team back them up? Can the team do what the goalie wants them to do, so the goalie feels most comfortable? So very, very interesting. Jack Brammer is back to the Sheffield Steel Dogs. And he is actually the assistant captain as well. So Morgan's made him assistant, and I'm happy to see that he's got his place. We spoke to Jack a few months ago, or it was midway through the season when Sheffield went through that little tough time. He wanted to leave, he couldn't leave, but he's found his home, obviously, which is Sheffield, and he's got his place next season. I think he's got a very big role, hasn't he, Charlie, next season, because he's got that Sheffield DNA. He's not a newbie. He knows what it is like to play for Sheffield.
Yeah, he'll be good. I think he'll want a better season. I think he'll want to increase his points. I think he'll want to increase his ice time. So yeah, I think it's a big year for him, and he'll want to prove himself and get in the A means. I can imagine he'll drop the gloves a bit. He'll be in charge, and I think it's a good responsibility to give him because I think he's someone who will understand what it means.
Yeah, and I think he said that he'd hop back on the podcast. Obviously, we had him last season, so he said that he'd hop back on for another interview to talk about this season. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to set that one up and interview him ahead of this season. Another import who's back, Luca the Bazooka. The 41-year-old, he is still going in our league, and it's fair to say last season we link him to Ovechkin. He is a goal scorer. He's not the most mobile. I actually just was about to search on Elite Prospects, Luca the Bazooka. It's Vladimir Luca. But yeah, he's signed back again. He's got back-to-back 50-point goal seasons. I don't think he'll get 50 this season, Charlie. He could prove me wrong. He could get 50, but it's a goal scorer which you can smack onto that power play on the left hand side, or if you're 5-on-5, you're on the rush, you can just pass it over to him and he'll slap it in the goal, can't he?
Yeah, he's a very good player. He knows the back of the net. I think he's become more of a power play guy. I think
He's
five on
42,
five.
sorry, not 41.
I think 5-on-5 he can sometimes be caught behind the play a bit, especially in the bigger ice rinks. I think we see that in They were at Coventry, weren't they? Yeah,
Yeah.
at Coventry against Peterborough. But yeah, he's a good player. He's a local guy. I don't know much about budgets, but I'd guess he's probably a cheaper import compared to others. And I believe he has a house in Telford or something like that.
Yeah.
He lives in the UK, so yeah, I think it's a good pickup.
It's very interesting. He got 51 goals, 38 assists in his third season with Telford. Last season, he got 52 goals, 38 assists. So can he get 53 goals and 38 assists this season? We'll have to see. But it seems like Telford are building a more depthy roster, so they won't have to rely so much on Luca for the goals. Would you agree with that? Because he did score a lot of their goals, and I think that takes the weight off him as he does get a bit older.
Yeah, he is their goal scorer. The other imports definitely, especially Sutton in the goal side, picked it up as the season went along. But
Yeah.
I think they'd like to hope some other players pick up a couple more goals.
Adding Hardin is quite a good little player to come in and take a few of them goal loads. Another one. This is probably the one that shocked me the most, actually. Sisters to Milton Keynes. Me and you were both like, oh wow, Milton Keynes are gonna got sisters. Now we've had sisters on the podcast. He is a very confident player. Obviously he was at Peterborough for many years. Peterborough was classed as his home. But the last couple seasons, Charlie's kind of been at Peterborough. He's been away for a bit, and then he comes back to Peterborough, and then he was away for a bit, and then he come back for playoffs. He got his ban, so it's been a bit of an up and down one for Sisters because he was on the highest points per game last season in the first, I think, 3 or 4 weeks of the season with Slagkowski and Ferrara. So he's definitely one of the most talented Brits in the league. It's just whether he can really knuckle down and prove that and show that at Milton Keynes.
He's an unbelievably talented player. He has 39 points in 19 games this season, which is just crazy. He obviously got banned for cross-checking McMullen in the head,
Not a great
which
take
was
either.
which was silly. It wasn't a great look. I've chatted to him in person, and we've chatted to him on the pod. And he's confident in his ability. He likes to win. He don't want to lose. And at Milton Keynes, he has big ice, which I think is good for him, and he'll have top players around him. So if they can get the full 52 game season out of him, you're looking at 80 more points, and it's gross. Yeah,
It's another Brit, which is just like, wow. Milton Keynes just seemed to be able to Maybe it's the money, maybe it is, but they just be able to get these Brits. And when Norris and Talbot move on, oh, we'll go and bring in Jordan County. Oh, we'll go and bring in Martin's sisters. It's like they can always cycle through these really good British players, and fair play to them. That maybe it is a bit of jealousy from other teams because they're able to do that. They've got such a big fan base to be able to afford those kind of players,
We've
and
got 11 forwards signed up now, though.
it's just not, and they still haven't signed Stewart. They still haven't signed Rutkiss. So it's nuts, isn't it?
Interesting. It is interesting. Sorry, just to add another point on, because interesting. They've got County Field, Rio Grande Park, Gulliver, Carter Hamill, Lawrence McEwen, Max Stewart, Martin Sisters, Ross Venus, Wallace. I know they played with more than 13 forwards, but do you think they're gonna get Rutkiss back?
I think they either get
Stewart back?
Rutkiss or Stewart, one of the two. Can they sign both and have 13 forwards? Carter Hamill, he could get on most teams' third lines. He could probably get on every third line in the league. He's a good player.
Just to put it in context, if they sign, let's say they sign Liam Stewart and Rutkiss, on paper, their third line, they probably scratch Callum Field. Then they have Rio Grande Park, Carter Hamill, and then McEwen as a fourth line.
That's a fourth line.
Fourth. Like, we'll go on to some of the signings, and one of them I'll mention is a Bristol signing who they've signed as a depth player who I think is obviously someone who is a risk. And then you've got MK with Callum Field as a scratch and Carter Hamill playing fourth line potentially this year. The depth is phenomenal, and I say it as well because it's a talking point. I think MK are going to go down the import D route. I think it's coming.
It would make sense because they've got so many British forwards.
Then this is another question. I know they played with more D last year, but right now they've got Ben Brown, James Griffin, Ed Nags, Archie Salisbury, and Ben Soldier, right? All of them you'd expect to not get scratched. So is Malik not signing back?
Yeah.
They've got Malik, Rutkiss, and Liam Stewart not signed up right now.
Who were on last season's roster.
They've only got 2 roster spots left.
Yeah.
1D, 1 forward.
In terms of if they don't want to scratch anyone.
Yeah. Plus, they've got an import to come. So you've got Rutkiss, Malik, Stewart, and an import, and you've got 2 roster slots. It's interesting. It is just very interesting. My prediction is Rutkiss will come back, and Liam Stewart won't. But
we make these predictions. We don't know anything. Just putting it out there.
And I was messaging someone about the other day. If you have the budget MK have, they have the most fans. They have the biggest supporters club. So I'd assume they have the biggest budget. I think we all know that. If you have the budget MK have, of course you're going to sign the best players. And of course you're going to have a squad which has 13 forwards and 7D. I'm not blaming them. But am I jealous? Of course. I would love a team I'd love a squad like MK's where you can scratch top-notch players. So I thought I'd have that cameo because
MK, we've gone on a bit of a tangent for MK, and I really don't want MK fans to watch this. If it's your first time watching this, you're an MK fan. We're not salty fans. We're not like that. We've never really been like that. We give out our banter and stuff, but we're just putting it in perspective. Like, you guys are so big. You're such a big team, and you create. Your supporters club has so much money, and it's like you'll be able to sign so many good players. So it's just fair play.
I'm just saying it because don't
it's what it is. Yeah,
we're all around the league looking at Leeds saying they're going to win the league, but you do look at Milton Keynes' team on paper, and you're thinking, he's one hell of a team right now. They have got one hell of a squad signed up. So yeah, they're going to be a good team, and if I was an MK fan, I'd be looking forward to it. Adding Jordan County and Martin Sisters to your forward Brit core.
And a new import D-man, which I haven't had for many years, since the Elite League days.
It looks like they go the import D route.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Right now, Sisters, Venus, County, Lawrence, Gulliver, Rutkiss potentially.
Wallace.
You've
Yeah.
got enough forwards there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've gone
But
to
yeah,
like
Sisters a great signing if he can play the majority of the season. Because the last 2 seasons he's only played 21 and 19 games. And I'm sure you mentioned this. He's gone to MK. He cross-checked McMullen in the head. McMullen's back for Leeds next season. That first Leeds versus MK game, slot it on your calendar, and get on the Twitter feed, because that is going to be one spicy game between the top 2 teams in the league. It has to be said. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Let's move on then from Milton Keynes and let's go to Aidan Wilson to the Raiders.
Yay!
We all know Aidan Wilson. He actually scored against Swindon in the playoff game. And he's a decent little youngster. But I think a lot of people know him now in the league who didn't know him for the guy who cross-checked Crow, the goalkeeper, and ran away. I think it's time for him to show that he is a little talented player, and he's getting that chance with the Raiders. And I know we've seen a lot of players leave the Raiders, and this is his chance now at a new team, playing under Leishram, in front of the Romford fans who are going to like those little hits, like those little plays. So they'll get behind it. So, Charlie, what do you make of the signing?
I think it's a good signing considering the circumstances for Romford. He's played GB minutes before. He's clearly got more to show than he maybe has in the National League. As much as we do laugh and we remember him for that moment, and I'm sure players in the dressing room remind him of that moment as well. He is only 19. He's the same age as me. And he's played in Sweden. He's played in America. He's played under 18 GB. He's played in Scotland. He's been all over the place. And I can imagine he has got stuff to show. He has got ability. And I think he'll be on the third line for Romford. He'll be a depth player. And he's quite quick. Put in with Ransom and Ailif, and you've got Rapidino line.
Yeah.
So they've got a good depth piece, I think, for Romford.
Yeah, considering they need players, I think it's a nice little player to come in, and he's got that National League experience now. So yeah, not too bad.
Half a year, yeah.
The big one, we've talked about it a bit on the podcast. Matt Hayward, he's not re-signed to Leeds. Does that mean he's going to go elsewhere? No, he's staying in Leeds. Of course, he's staying in Leeds. Why would you go anywhere else, Charlie? You're playing for the best team in the league, and Matt Hayward has re-signed, and that is the second line or first line centre, whatever line it is, secured. That's the icing on the cake, really, for Leeds and their signings and their top 6. Yep, Charlie, no words.
Well done, Leeds.
Nah, come on, seriously. It is a fantastic re-sign. I think it more speaks levels to because he's just finished his uni degree, and I think it speaks more levels to the fact that he's staying another season and on how good of a bunch Leeds are.
He's sick. Like, he's sick at hockey, and the Leeds players like winning, and he likes winning. So they want to win this year. And he is a big part of that top 6. And they've upgraded that top 6. They've added Bissonnette instead of another import. So yeah, Leeds look good again.
Yeah, they do. Be interesting. It's be interesting to see.
There's not much to say because they generally are stacked, and
you expect them to make those signings.
They are going to challenge. They've got a stacked third line as well now. So maybe people would have said would be their weakness not too long ago. So yeah, they're going to be extremely tough to beat again.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see what top 6 they play. Obviously, with Bissonnette now, with Wacer, Brown, Howlett, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see and Barron as well. Sorry. So the top 6, we'll see how it goes. A guy which we really liked last season, Charlie. He was announced this morning. James Smith is back to the Telford Tigers. Yesterday morning. That's a very, very good signing, and he really made a name for himself in a positive way for the NIHL Tigers, didn't he?
Yeah, James Smith is he was sick in playoffs, and yeah, he's a good third line grinder. He's good at fighting, proper Scot, and yeah, he's a good piece for Telford. I think he suits their play style well.
Yeah, he's 30 years old. He's a little boy. Well, not a little boy. He's a little man. He's 5'7", Yeah, last season, 19 points in 37 games. I didn't actually know he played that many games for the main team, but 19 points in 37 games, and he got quite a few points in the playoffs as well. A tidy little player and a good re-signing to play in that Telford team who's looking very depthy next season. So fair play to Tom Watkins and Jason Silverthorne as well in the assistant coaching role. And the next one we've got is this morning signing. This one is from this morning. That is the whole import, and he completes the trio of import forwards, and his name is Caden Hannas, Charlie. And they did a little highlight reel. He's got a bit of everything. He's got a bit of assisting. He can score some goals. And they got him throwing some hits as well. It's another Canadian, and I think, judging from the videos, he's got really good hands as an import. But obviously, we'll have to see.
Yeah, he has actually got a British passport. He doesn't qualify for any Brit.
Yeah, he is an
he's got a
import.
British passport. Yeah, he's from leagues I don't really know much about.
Yeah, we don't see these
I know
leagues.
the WHL, and
Yeah.
he played with some NHLers there. But apart from that, I can't really say much about the leagues he's come from.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how good he's going to be.
He's only 24 years old.
I'd say he probably looks weaker than other imports which have been signed on paper.
On paper, yeah.
But they've got Sobchak and Svek, who both 100-point players. So
it's just about accommodating them in that top six. He's only 5'10" as well. He's not a tall import.
Matty Davies got 2 out of 3 imports right last year.
Yeah.
In Brock Bartholomew and Svek.
And then he got Sobchak as
Sobchak in who worked. So Matty Davies has got a good track record with imports.
Yeah.
So I think I'd trust him on this import signing because he seems like he knows what he's doing when it comes to signing imports.
Charlie, I got a question. We did ask Jordan, but import forward, 3 import forwards, they haven't elected to go with an import D-man. Do you think that is purely because they have replaced Brock with Davy Phillips, who we know has the experience for days in that elite league?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have gone an import D. But then I don't know what forwards they've got available to sign. I don't know whether Matty's got another D-man he's going to get who I'm going to go, oh, I never thought they'd get him. So, yeah, I don't know who Matty signed who's a Brit. Yeah. But for me, to catch the top teams is by getting in an import D and solidifying the defense. But then at the same time, they've lost Salem and Towner. So you have to replace. I know, and Uric, and they've only signed Hewitt into that top 6. So you have to have another forward to play in that top 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
interesting. The cat is howling outside. I'm just going to pause this here. Sorry about that. The cat got locked in the back room. I don't know how that happened. We care for our cats. But going back to it then, we've got Kyle Carruth, who just got announced on a 2-way with Glasgow. And I think this is huge, Charlie. Glasgow and Solway, 17 years old. He's going to be on the ice a lot more. And we spoke to Tate Shudra about how ice time as a young player is very, very important. And getting that 2-way, Charlie, as much as he probably might not play for Glasgow, we don't know. He could get a couple games, but just that experience of getting on the ice with some of those elite league boys whilst playing for Solway, I think that'll be quite good for him.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting signing for Solway, and I think he'll get potential top 6 minutes for them this year. So it's a big year for him. He's got to step up in a team which needs him.
Yeah, but he is only 17 years old. This could be another kind of Brindley Cap situation where the Scottish Brindley Caps. No, I'm joking. He's his own player, and this is his opportunity now in the men's league, and he's only going to improve with that 2-way. So good luck to Kyle. Sean Miller to the Raiders. This is another import signing. He looks very good, doesn't he, Charlie? Point per game in the U Sport. Should we get him up? Is he Canadian or American? Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Miller. But yeah, a very, very good signing. And what I tweeted out is when you've got someone like Leisham in charge, I think that's always a positive when you're gonna go for imports, because Leishram knows the Canadians. He knows what the leagues are like. He knows which players are going to be kind of good, which ones are those confident point scorers, and this guy got a point per game in the U Sports pretty much. So yeah, very very positive sign I think for them, Charlie.
Yeah, Leishman would have had contacts who he can message and be like, "What's Sean Miller like?"
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised if he messed up on an import signing Leishman, and he looks really good on paper. Just to put in context, he got 22 points in 24 games, 17 points in 23 games, 22 points in 20 games, and he gets more assists than goals, which means shove him on a line with Jake Sylvester.
Yeah, Jake
That's what I say.
Sylvester, 40 goals last season, or more than 40 goals last season. You put this guy on a line with him, he's going to be picking him out. So,
In
yeah,
context, Leishram was only 15 points in 29 games in the U Sports League. So, and don't get me wrong, Leishram's had time to settle in our league, but Leishram scored 89 points last season in 47 games. So,
yeah.
If the guy's anything similar to him, they'll be happy with their signing.
Yeah, and they've still got one more import to come. I assume it will probably be a D-man like they have done the last couple seasons. We'll have to see. A lot of teams going with that D-man now. The final signing, and this is a huge one. I know we touched on it a tiny bit earlier with Milton Keynes. It is Ross Venus. He is back to Milton Keynes. I think we knew he was going to come back over 100 points last season. Definitely in the top 5 players, I think. Definitely top 3 Brits in the league. That is he's a glue piece to that Milton Keynes top line, isn't he?
I forgot who we were on about. I was
Ross
looking at someone else.
Venus.
Oh, Venus, he's not bad.
That's an L from Charlie.
Yeah, Venus is unreal. He'll have a target on his back against Peterborough, which I'm sure he'll be excited to play that game.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
that hasn't been played yet. But yeah, Venus is top 5 forward in the league. Some would call him the best. I'd argue number 89. But no, I'm joking. But yeah, he's phenomenal. He's the heartbeat of that attack for Milton Keynes. He was their best player last season for me, and yeah, I'm sure he'll try hit that triple digits again, and he wants to win more trophies.
72 assists, the most assists last season. It is ridiculous, and I think whoever you stick him on a line with, whether it's Lawrence, Wallace, Rutkiss, if he joins back, they're going to score goals. So yeah, I think that is one of the top signings or top re-signings because he's not a new player, so we know what he's about. Right, that's all the signings gone through. Yeah, we've gone through quite a few there. We're going to go on to the interview of Jordan Mclaughlin. It is one of our best ones. I know we say that every time, it's one of our best ones, but Jordan speaks so well. He gave some really good answers, as I said, some tricky questions. So we'll cut to that one now. Oh, and welcome back. We got another really special guest on the podcast. Charlie, do you want to introduce him?
Yeah, we'd like to welcome onto the podcast today a Great Britain under-20 player in his past. He spent some time in the Elite League. He's now come down to the National League. He's been here for 2 seasons, making a cup final. But this year, he'll want to go one step further. It's actually our first ever netminder on the podcast. So we'd like to welcome on Jordan Mclaughlin. You got the honor of being the first netminder.
Yeah, I'm honoured. I'm honoured.
How's the off-season going? I've seen a couple fixtures announced for pre-season next month.
Yeah, it's going good. It's just let's get into that point now where you just kind of want it to come around. You know, you're just kind of sitting around waiting for it to start again. But yeah, no, it's good to see that we're playing Leeds and Sheffield. They're always good games playing against them. So yeah, it'd be a good way to start off.
How many? I'm guessing you're back on the training sessions of Hull. I've seen a few clips on their Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, we're back training once a week, but I think August kind of time we'll start training like 2 or 3 times a week and kind of ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah, nice one. We'll go back to the start then. Obviously, you grew up in Scotland and the Scotland juniors. Do you want to talk a bit about the Scottish junior system? Because I can imagine it's maybe slightly different to the UK, the British one.
Yeah, well, I played in Edinburgh. So when I first started, I think I started when I was like 5 or 6. So I started really young.
Yeah.
And at the time, Edinburgh was probably one of the better ones in Scotland. We were winning leagues and trophies and things like that. But then, kind of as I grew up, more kids started moving away, falling out of playing hockey and stuff like that. And then it ended up being Murrayfield, one of the poorer teams most of the time. But it was good for me as a goalie because I got loads of shots every game. So I think for me it worked out all right, but maybe for the rest of the guys that were on my team, maybe not so much. But yeah, no, Scottish hockey's a weird one. I think it's definitely got a lot better in the past few years, but
Yeah.
there was a good while, especially when I was like 13, 14, it wasn't in the best of places. There was one or two teams that would beat every other team, like 20 odd nil, 10 nil, 15 nil, and then they would play against each other for the league title, basically. So yeah, it's definitely got a lot better. I think there's a lot more teams and it's a lot more competitive. There's more games for kids that are like, if they want to improve and get better, then that opportunity is there. But yeah, when I was growing up, it was just kind of like sink or swim, really.
Did you always want to be a goalkeeper?
To be honest, I don't actually know. I think I just started at under 10s and just kept drifting further back. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I probably regret that decision now. But I was like 5 at the time, so yeah, I guess I probably didn't know what I was thinking.
Go on, Charlie.
You were one of the nutters who just said, "Oh, I'll have the pucks blasted at me, and we'll see what happens."
Yeah, I don't think our team had a goal at the time, so it was just kind of like whoever wants to do it can do it. And then I just
A
kind of
full
went in
60?
and just yeah, I went in. I remember my very first game. We were playing against Belfast, I think, at the time,
Oh,
and
wow.
I literally skated round behind the net to cover the puck because I just had no idea what I was doing. Like I was behind the net, like drop down, just covering the puck and stuff. It was just a nightmare. But
Do you
yeah,
have any National League boys which are in the league now you played with in juniors?
I played with Jay King. He was at
Oh, yeah.
Basingstoke. He's obviously at Chelmsford now. I played with him for a good number of years in Edinburgh. I played against a good few. I played against like Callie Robertson, a lot of the Solway boys, obviously.
Yeah.
I played with Lewis Young. Yeah, I played with him for a few
Good
years
little
as well.
player. Did
He's
you
a good
play with
little player,
Plusey
yeah.
at all?
I played with Plusey at Edinburgh,
Yeah, I thought
when
so.
we played for the Capitals, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Love
unfortunate.
Plusey. He's funny.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Obviously, you went through the juniors then, and obviously it got to Glasgow. Do you want to talk us through how you got that opportunity going up to the Elite League, and how was it as being a backup goalkeeper in the Elite League?
Yeah, so I kind of got thrown in at the deep end in the Elite League with Edinburgh because at the time I was training with their SNL team, and then at the Caps, their main goalie got hurt, and the other goalie was off ill. So I just kind of got a chance really to play for them the first year, and I played a couple of games and did all right, and then they kept me for the second year.
You must
And
have
then
been
that
quite young
second,
then.
yeah, I think I was 16 when I played my first game
Oh
in
my
the Elite League.
goodness.
So yeah,
And
and
it's sorry, it's
that's all right.
interesting. You did Elite Prospects isn't always right, but apparently you played 24 games in the Elite
Yeah,
League.
that was the second year. Yeah,
Oh,
I think the
wow.
first year I only played 2 or 3 games maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first game against Fife, your biggest rival in Hogmanay, that was just
I remember
throw you right
Edinburgh.
in.
I remember Edinburgh wasn't one of the top teams in the Elite League. So how was that coming in at such a young age, and you're playing the likes of Cardiff, Sheffield, and you're getting a lot of shots come on to you?
Yeah, it was tough, but like I just loved every minute of it because
Yeah.
as I think at that age when I was like kind of 15, I didn't really know if I was going to pursue hockey as like a career type thing. I was just kind of like playing it for the fun.
Yeah.
And then I got that chance and I was like, I can actually play with these guys. Like, I can stop the puck. Like it's all right. I don't look like a complete clown. So yeah, just kind of enjoyed every minute of it. And I knew it was going to be tough. Like I think my second game we went down to Nottingham and I think we had about 12 players maybe.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was a long night. But I think we only lost like 4-2 or something. But
Yeah.
it was just like one of those like, am I actually playing like in Nottingham like in front of all these people? Like it's insane.
I don't know if you played with them. I know Plusey did. Did you play with the guy called Pavel Voboyev?
Yeah.
What? Do you want to talk about him? Because he got drafted in the NHL at like 9, didn't he?
He got 11.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah, he was insane. He was the best player I'd ever played with at that point.
Really?
Like it was incredible. Just like his hands and the way he could like play the game. Like he obviously was a lot older when he played in Edinburgh, so he wasn't as fast anymore, but he could still make people look silly. It was insane. And he used to wear like the proper old school Bauer skates. Like I don't even think they sell them anymore. And he used to have like 2 or 3 pairs of them and just like wear them all the time. And it was insane. There was one game where like in Nottingham, he just like got the puck and he just like dug his heel into the ice and he was like on his heels and he just turned around and sniped it top bins. And he didn't even celebrate. He was just like, yeah, that's just normal for me.
But yeah, if anyone's watching who hasn't heard of him, Pavel Voboyev, I think. Is that how you pronounce it? Voboyev?
Yeah, for Boyev or Vorobiev.
Yeah,
I think one of the two. Yeah.
I have to ask because Scotland is an interesting place in the Elite League. Like as we've seen with Fife, they've got 4 Kazakhstan boys this year. I'm planning on making a trip down there. You played with a team with Russians, Austrians, most nationalities out there. How did the communication come about? What was it like in the dressing room?
Yeah, that second year was tough with talking to some guys because there was a few of them like obviously Vorboyev had spent a lot of time in America and so did Valiev, so they knew English really well and they could have a proper conversation with you. There was a few of the guys that had come straight from like Kazakhstan and Russia and they had not much English. They could say like hi and be like nice and I would like say like hi, how are you? But when it came to like talking about hockey, sometimes it was kind of like picking the board up and being like you there, me there. It's the kind of thing. So yeah, I think it was quite hard because obviously Derazio became a player coach because the coach left halfway through the year. So I think it was kind of tough for him at times to kind of get his point across. But I think we did all right. You know, Edinburgh there was a lot of things going on off the ice that probably weren't helping the team at all. So I think we just kind of did what we could with what we had. You know.
Yeah. And then how did the move come about from going from Edinburgh? I know, was it because Edinburgh folded, was that? And then you got the
Yeah.
chance at Glasgow?
Yeah, so Edinburgh folded, and Pete Russell messaged me in that summer because obviously he'd been at MK that year.
Yeah.
And I guess I played against him a good few times, and I'm guessing he liked what he's seen. So he wanted me on a two-way at Glasgow with Solway who were in the Div 1 at the time. So I played a lot with Solway that year, but that was when like Sheffield and Telford and stuff were in the league.
Oh,
So it was
nice. Yeah.
So it was a really good league, and it was probably the perfect level for me at the time because
Yeah.
you know, the elite league was maybe a bit too high, and that was kind of the drop down that I needed. So I played a fair bit of Solway there, and we had 3 goalies. It was me, Hepburn, and Kyle Johnston. I don't think he plays anymore, but yeah, we just kind of rotated through the 3 of us, and it was good. It was a good year because it kind of I was playing more regularly. I was playing like a starter, playing against some of the big teams like Hull and Sheffield at the time.
Yeah.
And and then obviously I was training with Glasgow every week as well, so I was kind of getting that chance as well. If they needed the guy, I was there on the bench for them.
Do you think it helped
And then
them?
obviously,
Do you think it helped? Obviously, Sheffield have got this new system. They've got a few goalies, and you just talked about 3 of them there. Do you think it will properly work then at Sheffield if they're because they've got the two-way system now? They can some of them could back up, and then you've also got the opportunity, like you did, to go and play for Solway if you had to. You weren't just nailed on as the backup.
yeah, I think it's definitely something that can work really well, as long as they manage it the right way and it's not
Yeah.
like the same guy playing all the time. Obviously you want to play the guy who's playing the best, but
Yeah.
you know, it is a competitive sport. At the end of the day, the guy who's playing the best is going to play more often. But you know, you've got to be able to give everybody a chance to kind of show what they've got because that's what they're doing. They're trying to show what they can do so they can get into that league spot.
Yeah.
So you know, you've got to give them a fair kind of chance. You can't just give one guy all the good games and then the other guy is going down to Bristol every week when maybe they're not the best team in the league like last year. Like, you know, Bristol's a tough road trip at the best of times.
It's
but
a long one.
yes, it's a long one, and obviously if you're going there and you're not getting many shots, it's not going to help you. So you want to be playing those games that are really tight. You know, like playing against like us, Leeds, MK, kind of things like that. That's what's going to make you better.
It's about balancing it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Go on,
so
Charlie.
that's what it's all about.
So the next year, after that Solway year, it seemed like other people recognised you as well, and you got your GB call up in probably one of the most stacked under 20 GB squads I've seen.
Yeah, that team was insanely stacked.
Just
How
to list it out, they have Kirk, Josh Waller, Boyser, Kieran Brown, Tyler Cooper, Cade Nilsson, Mason Alderson, Mac Howlett, Jordan Cowsell, Harry Oliver, Ed Bradley, Joe Hazeldine, Pound, Solder. Oh,
yeah, it was actually nuts playing with those guys because we were all like at a really high level already and we're that young.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was probably one of the most stacked teams I've been on. But it was disappointing in a sense because we knew how good a team we had, and we only got bronze because we got beat by Estonia. And yeah, they just came out and beat us on the night. But yeah, it was frustrating because we knew like how good a team we had, and we probably should have won gold that tournament.
Obviously Solway are in our league now, which I think is pretty cool having a team up in the north. And you made your move to the whole Seahawks after playing for Solway, Leeds, and Glasgow the season before. obviously it was quite a tough season, that first season with Hull. Did Matty let you know that was what was going to happen? Because obviously you come in and I think you played pretty much every single game that season.
Yeah, yeah. The first year was it was a tricky one. I think to start with, we didn't, because of the issues with the imports and
Yeah.
stuff like that. We thought we'd probably be in a better place than what we were to start with.
Hmm.
Like when we started, we didn't. Some games we were pulling guys in from like the Jets and Div 2 and things like that, just so we had enough guys to play.
Yeah.
I don't think they thought we would be in that spot to start with, and obviously that's not any fault of the clubs really. It's just how things worked out with like the visas and everything like that.
Yeah.
So the start of the year was really tough, but then as the year kind of went on, we kind of found our feet. We got like our first win, and then went on a wee run at kind of Christmas time where we just went
Yeah.
and won like 3 games in a row, and it was just like, all right, okay, and then we beat Peterborough like 7-2 and stuff like that. It was just like, oh, we actually are like a good team, like when we play properly.
Yeah.
And then I think just by that point, by Christmas time, we'd kind of figured out like the team. We obviously a few guys had left, a few guys had came in, but by that point we were just too far behind in the points to
Yeah.
close the gap for like playoff places. But I think if we had the team that we finished with at the end of the year at the start, we probably would have been in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well,
But the first year was good. We were playing.
yeah.
I was playing every night. I was getting loads of shots against guys that are at a really high level. Like the level in this league is incredibly high. Like some of these guys could definitely play in the elite league, so it's good to have that kind of challenge every night.
Well, I remember some of the score lines, and obviously you turned up to some games with what 12, 13 players, but you
Yeah,
still come out of that season with an 894 save percentage, which I must say that is pretty good considering all the circumstances which Hull went through that season. How did you find the next season then? Because Matty always talked about how, oh, we're just going to wait until next season because we'll be able to get those players in. We'll make sure the imports are going to come in straight from the start. And you had a really, really good season last season as
yeah,
a team.
yeah. No, as a team, we had a really good season. I think that's kind of what we were expecting to do. We really wanted to kind of like make a mark and be like, right, okay, the first year you kind of had a free pass. This year we're
Yeah,
going to be properly in about the mix, and we want to try and challenge for trophies and make it life difficult for every team. But it was a complete like shift in terms of mindset, because the first year you were going in knowing that you were going to not have the puck much, you were going to
yeah,
face a lot of shots. Whereas this year we were the team that had the puck a lot, and I was only facing sometimes like 15, 16 shots a game.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was completely different because I went from having like a lot to do to then not as much. So it's definitely different as a goalie to go from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And talk us through probably Hull's games of the season, which were, as you can guess, the Leeds night semi-finals. It sounded like you played very well in them. What was it like competing in them trophies? Would I be right to say that was probably the first time in your career you were competing in them sort of games, apart from
Yeah,
the
yeah. Apart from GB, that was kind of definitely the first time I'd been um, in kind of like a cup, like a knockout type game like that. So yeah, no, it was fun. I loved every minute of it, especially playing against Leeds. Obviously, they had loads of fans at our place. We had loads of fans at their place. It was just a great atmosphere both games, and it was the same with MK. Obviously, MK didn't go as well as
Yeah.
I wanted it to, or the team did, but this is a different story. But against Leeds, we all kind of showed up, played as a team. We knew what we had to do, especially that second game. Like we knew we were a goal up after the first game. We didn't have to go in and try and score straight away. I know we did, but like we didn't need to go and try and force the game. We could kind of just be patient and let things happen when they made mistakes. So
Yeah.
yeah, we executed it perfectly, and it was just a good experience. And hopefully that's something I learn on again this year if we get into those situations again. I'm just ready for it, and I know what's kind of to expect now.
Yeah. Obviously, Matty's gone into full-time head coaching. How have you found playing under Matty, who's quite a new coach to the league?
Yeah, no, I think Matt is a great coach. He's honest with you. Like if you're playing bad, he'll tell you. But if you're playing good, he's equally as good at bigging you up and saying like, look, you're playing class at the minute. Keep
Yeah.
going. His idea and the way he wants to play, I think it's exciting. It's in your face kind of hockey. It's not like defensive and like sitting back. He wants
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make things happen, and I think that's really good. I think that's what fans want to go and watch. And I think obviously he's new to coaching, so like maybe the first year and the second year there was a lot of things he was picking up
Trying
on,
out.
but then
Yeah.
I think he'll just get better as a coach every year, and he's been a great guy to play under.
Yeah, he's one of the nicest guys in hockey as well. Go on,
Yeah,
Charlie.
yes.
Has there been players in the dressing room maybe us fans wouldn't expect who have helped the whole team over the last 2 seasons, or have helped you personally?
Oh, wouldn't expect. Well, Dick Bammer, but he's one everyone expects, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just been a rock for us. I think that first year he was playing like near enough 60 minutes a night.
Oh my God, it was
It
ridiculous,
was
wasn't it?
insane. Yeah.
We love
I think Stubley's an underrated guy.
Yeah.
He's a good D man. He's got good hockey knowledge. He kind of knows the game, so he's been good. He doesn't get talked about a lot. Obviously, we had guys like Salem and Wilcox, who are
Yeah.
experienced guys who'd been around and knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it got to those kind of tough games, where we only had 10, 12 guys, they just kind of dug through it, and we got through it as a team.
When we look at back last season, we got to talk about one guy, and that's Brock. Have you ever played with a defenseman quite like Brock? Because offensively, he's probably the best defenseman I've seen come and play in the NIHL.
Yeah, I think the only guys that I've played with that are similar is like some of the guys in Glasgow that I played
Yeah.
with in the Elite League. But yeah, Brock's definitely of that level. You could probably play in the Elite League or a higher league. He's just so smart. He knows when to go forward, when not to. He's not just like every time he gets the puck, he's not just trying to make something happen. Like he's
Yeah.
smart with it. He doesn't force things, and he's really good defensively as well. Like
Yeah.
obviously everyone talks about how good he is point scoring, and that's great because he does do that. But defensively, as a proper defender, he can put him out in any situation, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll get pucks out. He'll block a shot if he needs to. I mean, he took one in the face off the jaw once,
He
and
had
that
to
did
wear
not
the
look
cage,
nice.
didn't he? After
Yeah,
Mm.
had to wear the cage for it. His face was all ballooned up like that. But yeah, yeah, no, he was great for us last year.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll be pretty excited to be playing with. Probably it's fair to say one of the greatest British defensemen we've had. You got Davy Phillips this year. How excited are you to play in front of him? Well, behind him.
Yeah, I'm well excited to play with Dave because obviously the first year I was here, I was on a tour with Sheffield and he was
Yeah.
at Steelers. So me
Mhm.
and him used to travel into Sheffield every day. So I know
Oh,
Dave quite
nice.
well. We used to have a good few funny car rides, and I remember once we got stuck in traffic for like 3 hours. That was not fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think like you said, Dave's one of the best British teammen to have done it. There's quite a few good ones out there, but yeah, no, Dave's going to bring a whole new level of like experience and just kind of knowing how he's been on winning teams in Belfast, Sheffield, like he knows how to win trophies, how to win games, and
Yeah.
I think that's only going to help us. It's kind of just going to make us a bit more solid at the back.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, you talk about that. That was going to be my next question. I think Matty's brought in a couple nice little players to come in that defensive unit. Obviously, Hayward's just been announced as well. We know what he's like. He's a veteran of the league. He can. I think he's one of the best defensemen in front of the goal, and I think
Yeah.
he'll be able to help out a lot. And then you got Callum penalty killing as well. So, how excited are you in terms of the defense in front of you with those few signings?
Yeah, no, I think our decore's definitely taken a step up this year.
Mm.
I think that was maybe if you looked at us last year, that was maybe the part of our team that was maybe
You were
lacking a
going
little
into
bit.
some games with 4 or 5D, weren't you?
Yeah. At times we were playing with 4D, and like there's nothing on those guys because they play that many
Yeah.
minutes that they just end up getting knackered, and there's
Yeah.
not much they could do when Wallace and Herman and that are just keep flying at them because they,
Yeah.
they keep going. It's hard. So yeah, no, I think just definitely having a bit more depth in D, that we can have like 6 solid D men that we can just roll, and we don't have to like worry about who's playing too much, who's playing too little type thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously, a big talking point was obviously Deemer's come in from Sheffield. He's 35, but he's got bags of experience. How are you looking for next season? I guess competing alongside him, but also teammates as well for that starter spot.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, you want to be the starter, so I'll be competing hard to try and be, playing most of the games. But also like Dima's been a guy that's been around the league for a long time. He's done a lot, he's won a lot, so I'm just excited to kind of learn what I can from him. That's kind of what I try and do. Anybody that I play with, try and learn little bits from everybody, and then just take it from there.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I'm going to ask another interesting question. We've got 3 new additions to the league. They are import netminders. What is your take on import netminders? Are you excited? Are you intrigued? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm definitely intrigued to see how it plays out. You know, we've got you like some of them. I think it's the Bristol one he played in the AHL
Oh
at
my
one point.
Little
goodness, yeah,
stat, Pittsburgh
Yeah, like
prospect.
he's put some of them have played, and obviously I know that Levine, obviously he was at Sheffield for a little bit as well,
Yeah.
so, and he's played at like Michigan and like proper serious leagues as well. So you know it'll be interesting to see how they cope. I think you know the hockey in this country is probably similar to like North American style compared to European. I'd say maybe it's a
yeah,
bit more kind of physical and things like that. So they're probably used to that. So I think it'll be different, but yeah, I think going into places like Peterborough and Bristol, that
Mhm.
it's different. It's not the AHL, you know. So we'll see how it
No, I
goes. It's
agree with that.
interesting to
Actually,
see
that's
how
a
they
good
go.
point.
Yeah, it's just different. It's not, you know, it's you go into Peterborough and it's cold and it's a bit damp and you don't feel great. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it's just not a pleasant experience most of the time, especially as the away team. I'm guessing the
yeah,
home team room's a
um,
lot better than the away one,
yeah,
but.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play. I think obviously they'll be good, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they compare to like Dima, Gauzy, Headley, me. You know,
Yeah.
we're all kind of good, and Rennie and Jordan Ma as well. They're
Yeah,
both
yeah.
really good goalies, so we'll see how they compare and if they stick around the full year because you never know they might get offers from different places and stuff.
Yeah.
You never really know what's going to happen, so it's interesting to see.
As a young, you're still only 24, and I was going to mention before, but Deemer's had 11 more years than you, and that's only going to benefit you as well as a goalie to learn more stuff. But obviously, as a younger goalie, you've got some younger goalkeepers in the league. Do you think possibly if these elite, import netminders do turn out to be top level, we're talking above Headley, above Gospel. Do you think that could have an impact on some of these younger netminders? Because I know you've been given the chance at Hull, which I think is brilliant. But for young goalies like maybe Harrison Walker or Tyler DeBouche, do you maybe think that could stop it a bit?
Yeah, possibly. I think it just depends on. I think this year's maybe just a bit of a testing year to see how
Yeah,
it goes. You know, if they're really good and then they've got and they're above and they're one of the top goalies in the league, you might have more teams looking at the import route because it does win you games having a
yeah,
having a good goalie. For me personally, I think having, especially with it only being three imports,
yeah,
having three import forwards or two import forwards and a D man is a lot more beneficial than a goalie. But
hmm
you know, for teams that maybe have extra British players that are of that kind of import level, then maybe import goalie is exactly what they need.
yeah,
So yeah, it could definitely take away from some of the younger British goalies, but then again, there's always a coach out there that's going to give you a chance. You know, I was lucky that Matty gave me a chance. So the guys just need to keep grinding away, and hopefully they just get their chance at some point.
It's an interesting take actually, because obviously you make a good point. Hull have got the import signing tomorrow. We don't know whether it's a deal or a forward, but they're going to have that extra import out on that forward core or defensive core. So I guess it could work hand in hand. What was I going to ask? I forgot. Charlie, go on. You ask a question while I try and remember
I'm
what I was going to
being
say.
I've had many chats with Rennie. I was chatting to him at the end of season party about being a goalie. What do you look for in your D man as a goalie? Because I don't know, a lot of fans
Ooh.
obviously won't really understand. I'm not a huge understander of the goalie, but what do you look for in your defenseman? What do you want them to do?
Yeah, just guys that can skate well and like pressure the forward to make a shot early. I think the
Yeah,
longer you leave a forward, especially if it's somebody like one of the top guys like Brown, Malazinski, Wallace, Herman, one of those kind of guys. If you give them time to like pick their spot, they're probably not gonna miss. You know, they're that kind of good at shooting. So I think somebody that kind of forces forwards to shoot without like thinking, and also kind of like obviously picking up sticks so that if I give off a rebound, I've got a chance to then cover it again. Or if I
Mhm.
cover it, I don't have somebody like skating right into me, something like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of keeps forwards out of the way, so I can kind of try and do my job as best I can.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I remember what I was going to say. Obviously, following on from that import, do you think three imports is right for the league at the moment? Do you think it should stay like that for maybe a couple seasons?
Yeah, I think three, maybe four if you want to up it. I think three or four is probably the
Yeah,
the sweet spot at the minute. I don't think increasing it any more than that would do any good at the
yeah,
minute
I
because
agree.
obviously you
Yeah,
see what's happening with the Elite League. You
yeah,
know, it seems like every few years the important numbers are going up and up. But that's just what they want to do. That's what the teams vote on. But I think for this league, you know, we're seeing a lot of good British players come through, and a lot of good British players that people probably wouldn't think are that good. Like for us, like Deck Jones and Owen Bruton, if the import level's higher, they maybe don't get a chance to play on like the top line, So I think it's definitely helping a lot of British players, prove that they can play and they can play to a really high level.
Go on, Charlie. Go on.
I messaged Dan, as you know, he's one of the members of the pod. Before the game, I said, "You got any questions for McLaughlin?" And his question was, "Why did you shush the Basingstoke fans?"
I did a shush the Basingstoke fans. That's a great question.
Maybe they're giving you grief.
Yeah, I think there might have been one guy that was just like going at me all game. Yeah,
I love
actually,
that stuff. I love it.
I remember it. There was one guy who just kept going at me all game because he used to come to. He came to a few Bees games this year wearing his Basingstoke top, and he was still trying to give it to me. I was just like, mate, give it a break. It's been a year now. But yeah, no, I think he was just giving it to me like behind the plexi. So when we won, I think we won like 3-1 or 3-0 or something like that. And I think I just turned around and just gave him a wee shush, like just shut up.
But that's kind of I like that, and obviously Hull's been renowned for that, being a bit. You've got those type of players. You've obviously got Bobby, you got Lee, you've got Huey, who's coming now, who I think is a bit of a character, and he has been for Sheffield. So do you think that's kind of a little? I don't know how to describe it but a little bonus for you guys that you got those type of players.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I think if fans are going to give it to you, they need to be able to just kind of take it back every once in a while.
Absolutely,
Because like us guys, we go out there and we play as hard as we can, and just to hear constant like somebody just calling you rubbish and terrible, like at some point you just want to like tell them to just shut up. Do you know what I mean? But you can't because they're like behind the plexi, so little things like that always helps. But I think having characters like Huey, and also we've got Bowens and Chambo, like no team's going to mess around with us. Let's put it that way. I think it's good, and it gives us that edge that I think you need to win games. If you're just playing like nice hockey sometimes and you're not really being physical and on that edge, and 90% of the time you probably don't win. Like the trophies and things like that, you'll probably win a good number of games, but when it comes down to like those cup finals, cup semi-finals, you need the guys that are going to like really get down and dirty and play how they need to play to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously looking at playing in Hull, what's it been like for you moving down? Whereabouts do you live? Sorry.
I'm living in Hull now.
Nice one. Yeah.
I used to stay like in Scotland. The first year I stayed in the team house, but because I signed for 2 years, me and my girlfriend moved down. We've got a flat down here now, so living the dream in Hull.
How's it playing in front of the Hull fans? Because when we've made the trip up to Hull, it can get quite loud in that barn and quite intimidating actually, which is I guess a good thing for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's a great place to play. I think the Hull fans, they're nuts, but like in a good way. They just love the team. They love ice hockey. I think it probably I think for a few years they didn't have a team. Obviously with COVID and things like that. So I think there's a lot of passion there for ice hockey. There's always been a team in Hull for years, and they've always been really successful. So they just want the team to be as good as it can be, and they'll get anybody. I've seen that. We've seen that. They'll give nonsense to everybody. I think even when I played against Hull for Solway, I was getting it. So I kind of know what they're like. But as a home, like playing on the home side, it's great. Every game you feel that energy from the crowd, especially the noisy ones that normally sit behind my goal.
Yeah, you have got the noisy ones behind your goal. They're very annoying. But is there any rinks maybe which are harder to play in than others? Like, what's it like playing in Peterborough compared to playing in Sheffield, which is like clean ice, big ice pad, and Peterborough? We know what Peterborough's like.
Yeah, it's completely different. It's like you're playing two different games, to be honest, because it's difficult in different ways because Sheffield's so big that if they have good players like Biz and Huey, there's so much more room for them to get past D-men and stuff like that, and they've got more time to take a shot and stuff. So, but yeah, Peterborough is it's 100 mile an hour for 60 minutes straight. You can never take a shift off because you can literally score from anywhere on that ice rink.
Yeah.
It's so small and it's so like the boards, it could go anywhere when it hits the boards. So like I remember there was one against the first year when we played. I think it was Mitchell King took a shot from like outside the blue line on the boards, And because there was like guys in front of me, I didn't see it till it was like at my feet, and I had to like stop it with my skate blade because I just didn't see it because it's so small and so compact. So yeah, no, there's definitely, I would say Peterborough's one of the hardest. Leeds is hard because they're a
Really?
good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a good team and they know how to play in their rink. They know where they can get you and where they can't. So yeah, that's a hard one. Telford's quite a hard one.
Mm.
Obviously they're a really well drilled team.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, their rink's pretty tough. Yeah, Swindon's a tough one.
it's smaller than some other rinks, isn't it?
Yeah,
We had
it's
a big
deceiving
game
though when you first
as
walk
well.
in. You think, oh, this is not too small, and then you get on ice and you're like, oh, this is small. So
Yeah, we had a big
yeah,
game.
no, there's a few. I think every rink's different. Every
Yeah.
rink's got its own kind of challenges. Like Romford, it feels like the corners are really shallow, so when they rim the puck
Yeah.
around, it feels like it's went like way quicker than normal. Yeah, there are loads of different ones. The only normal one's Hull.
Yeah.
That's the only normal.
That's good to play there every week.
We haven't had a goalie, so what is it like preparation wise as a goalkeeper? Because I can imagine it's quite different to a player outfield. You're playing out on the ice. You're playing 60 minutes. You've got to have your head scratched in the whole game, and you don't get any breaks off, as you said.
Yes, it is definitely difficult being a goalie at times because you've got, like you say, you've got to be mentally switched on.
Yeah.
Every shift. You can't take a shift off. I think preparation wise, it's more kind of mental stuff, kind of visualizing what's going to happen. Understanding like who's on the other team, like good shooters, who to look out for, what their kind of tendencies are. So yeah, it's probably more mental than a player that's probably more like physically preparing to go out and play.
And what's it like? Put us in your mind. So you've just conceded a goal, which maybe you shouldn't have let in. What goes through your head to try and get you back in the zone? Because it's going to happen. So even Gospel does it. Even he lets in some shots which he shouldn't. So what do
Yeah.
you do to try and get yourself back into that zone?
Yeah, it's a tough one. My routine is just take a drink of water, and then squirt a little bit down my back.
Yeah, I've seen.
So
Yeah, I've seen you
I
do
feel
that.
it.
Actually,
I feel it do it. Like I feel it go down my back, and I'm like, right, okay,
Yeah.
it's just like start again, because you've got to just kind of have that mindset where you kind of just forget about it and try and move on to the next save. Because if you think about it, I know I've been guilty of it a couple of times this year. Like I've let one in that maybe I shouldn't have, and then I think about it, I'm like, oh, I really shouldn't have let that one in, and
It's
then
on your
before you
mind a
know it,
bit.
2 or 3 more are behind you, and you're like, oh shit, we're 2 or 3 down now. Now I've really got to
Yeah.
pull it out now. So yeah, no, it's difficult, but yeah, you just kind of got to learn to try and flip the switch and just move on. You kind of got to just almost be like a sieve and just forget about it. You know what I mean? Just let it go past you and just that's it. It's done.
Nice
Yeah.
one.
I've got a random couple quiz questions. Have you ever had a fight? Have you ever been close to a goalie goal?
A goalie goal. I've not had the chance to try it yet.
Oh.
Actually, I'm dying to try it because I do it in training and I hit it. I would say probably like 75% of the time.
Really?
But, yeah, but well, it goes along the ice, so I need it to be like a clear.
Is it
I need
different
to
when
be
it's in a
clear path.
game?
Yeah, it will be different because there'll be guys like trying to pressure you, so you can't do it.
Does it ever
Um,
cross your mind though, like, right, if it comes to me, I could flick it up the ice. There is an empty
Yeah,
cage.
I think we'd probably need to be 2 goals up
Yeah.
to try it. I think when you're 1 goal up against Leeds and you try and do a goalie goal, might probably try and kill me. Yeah, no, I like. To be honest, I'm that focused on the game that I've not really thought about it, like doing a goalie goal, but I'd try it at some point. In terms of a fight, yeah, probably when I was younger, I've probably been close to getting in a few fights. I'm a bit hot-headed at times. Like if you take a run at me, like I'm not gonna let you go past without a little
It's the
blast
Scottish
around.
way, isn't it? It's the Scottish.
Yeah,
Rennie
yeah,
blocked
just
someone in the head in Swindon one game. He lost it and just went bang.
I've been so close to doing that so many times. It's insane. I think there was one game against I think it was Bristol or something. We were in Bristol the first year, and I think I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Jay Warren or something.
It probably was
he
him.
was
Yeah.
like in my crease, like inside of me. So I just like lay on top of him for a good like 30 seconds. Just didn't let him get up, and he was like
Yeah.
properly trying to move.
It must be so tempted as a goalie. Looking towards next season, then you've added, as we mentioned, you've added quite a few big players: Huey, Hayward, Phillips. You've lost a couple as well, but I think you've replaced them quite well. What's the aims for next season then for you personally and also for the team?
I think for the team, it's try and be as competitive as we can be, you know, be
Yeah.
in the hunt for every trophy. I think that's definitely the goal.
Yeah.
You know, we came close last year with a cup final, but I think, you know, MK were probably a little bit too strong for us at the time.
Yeah.
But I think if we get that chance again, we're not going to let it slip away.
Mm.
I think everyone in that room, especially the guys from last year, they're all dying to win a trophy. We all really want to win something. And in the same, obviously, like Huey and Haywood and that, they're going to want to win as well. So I think you know, we're going to try and win as much as we can, you know, but it's going to be tough because the league, it looks like the league in the whole was kind of step up a level.
Standards gone up, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely moved up a level this year. So there's going to be no easy games, but we're just going to have to be on it every game. In terms of me, I think just kind of being solid and being consistent, you know,
Yeah.
90% is probably the aim for most goalies. So I would like to be above that if I can be, you know, 91, 92, pushing to, you know, try and be better than Gozzy, Heads, and Dima, and all, you know, all the
The
good
import
goalies in the league,
netties.
you know, and the import netties especially. I'll be trying to be better than them. So yeah, no, I just try and be as best I can. I think last year was a lot of learning. I think I've learned a lot from last year, so hopefully this year I'll be a lot better and more composed in situations where, you know, we can really make a mark in the league.
I think looking at Hull, from my point of view, it might be different, but I think towards the end of the season, I think because you had quite a smaller squad, I think everyone just ran out of steam a bit, and you'd given it so much throughout the season. I think it just tailed off a bit, but I think you've made quite a few signings now, which has bolstered the team a bit, and you've got quite a few young lads as well. You've had a couple years now.
Yeah, I think that was definitely part of it. I think when we had like the semi-final and the final, we had so many games in such a short space of time. Like,
I remember that.
I think when we played the semi-final, we had like 5 games in a week or something like that, roughly. It was insane. So
I remember that.
yeah, no, that with having like a slightly smaller squad, it was going to take it out of us. And I think that maybe hurt us a little bit in the playoffs. You know, we maybe just didn't have that edge that we needed to get past Peterborough when it came down to that deciding game. But yeah, I think this year we've kind of rectified that. We've got a lot of depth in our team. And I don't think there's unless we get a load of injuries, I don't think there's any excuse really for being tired this year.
Yeah.
And just a question from a curious point as well. Obviously, you have a goalie who is going to play games this year. We don't really know how it's going to start or whatever. You probably have a better clue than us. Are you a goalie who wouldn't mind taking the night off some nights and getting a good rest in if you had a 3-game weekend, or are you someone who wants to crease every game if you can?
It's a difficult one. I'm one that wants to play every game. Like, I'm annoyed if I don't play, but at the same time, I did that last year, and by the end of it, I was burnt out. I knew I was.
Yeah.
But we didn't really have anyone to play. You know, we had Dom and Tim, and you know, for the games that we were playing, you know, we couldn't really play them. So yeah, it was difficult last year, especially at the end, to kind of keep going and have that energy to be on it 100% every game. But yeah, no, I think it would be nice that, you know, share the net and kind of share that responsibility, because it's a lot. Obviously, I said, like, being a goalie is mental as well, so you're kind of sharing a load mentally as well, that you're not every game you're having to be switched on mentally and concentrate the full time.
I think it reminds me a bit of when we had Skins, and obviously he's an older netminder who'd been around, a really good netminder, and then we had Rennie, who was a bit younger. I think he was literally your age, 24, and that actually worked really well, even though some people questioned it. Will it work out? Will one want to play more than the other? So I think actually it can be quite a big positive having 2 really good goalkeepers.
Yeah, I think hopefully it will be a positive. You know, I've known Dima for a good number of years. I played against him when I played for Seoul, and we've always got on pretty well. So I think me and him will get on really well. I think we're kind of similar minded in the sense that we want to play, want to compete each other, but we also want to see the other do well as well. So I think it'll be a good mix.
Have you got any more questions, Charlie?
Are you excited for when England win the Euros?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Absolutely not. No, I think Spain will win, because I think they've been the best team so far. But you guys have got a bad habit of just scraping through games and winning. So
will you be watching it Sunday with a Spain shirt on?
Yeah, probably with a Spain top on. Yeah. Spain top and a sombrero and probably a pint of Madri or something. That'll do me.
Yeah, and obviously we had for the football fans watching the clear penalty yesterday, and then the dive from the Scots in the third group game. So, you know, We can't be having that.
Yeah, somebody's got to teach these referees what
Oh,
the rules
Yeah,
are. It's awful.
that Scotland one was rough. That was rough.
Oh, it was awful. It was just awful.
Charlie, you
But-
always end with this question.
What's your message to the whole Seahawk fans?
Just keep being yourself, keep being loud, keep being passionate, and we'll try and bring you a trophy this year.
Nice one. Jordan, thank you very much for hopping on. I think you
No
answered
worries.
some really, really good questions. And yeah, good luck for this season. We'll be looking out for you, and hopefully we can have you back on as well at the end of the season.
Yeah, cheers. It's been a pleasure anytime.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you.
And welcome back. Thank you very much for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed that interview of Jordan. Thank you again, Jordan, for hopping on with us and talking about the Scottish leagues, which I think was quite interesting, and coming down to the Elite League and then coming down to our league. So yeah, very, very good interview. And I think it was about 45 minutes long. So yeah, very nice one for you guys to listen to in the car or at home, wherever you're listening to. Yeah, as I said at the start, we will be moving on to the team specials very soon. We're just waiting for a couple more signings from a couple teams, which will pretty much complete their rosters. Milton Keynes are close, Swindon are close, Leeds are pretty much done and dusted. I think they might have a few more. We'll have to see with that one, but they've re-signed all of their major players. So yeah, we've got a few team specials which could come up, and we'll try and get some interviews with some players from those teams as well on the team specials, just like we did last year. Charlie, have you got anything else to add for this episode?
TJ Anderson is going to get over 70 points in the National League next year.
Wow, that is a statement. I'm sure he can do it. Yeah, there's been a lot of preseason fixtures actually announced. I forgot to mention that. So hockey is back next month. It is back next month. I know it's the end of next month. It's literally the last day of next month on the 31st of August, but it is officially back next month. So yeah, Swindon have got their preseason against Telford, which will be really good. So yeah, hockey's back next month. We're going to be back with the team episodes. We might do a couple each week. There might be 2 in 1 week. There might be only 1 in 1 week. We'll have to see with the rosters.
It will be very ranged on who's on them.
Yeah.
I think I can announce this actually. I'm becoming kind of self-employed in a week. So it's really exciting. So I've got a lot of work to put in, a lot of stuff to do. And that means that yeah, life is busy. So which is good, but it also means some episodes you may get Ian Macca and Jack Mac. Some episodes will be me, Jack. Some episodes me, Jack, Dan, Jack. So yeah.
I'm the main guy basically. So I'm going to carry on.
We'll rotate and yeah, bring on the hockey.
Yeah, bring on next season, man. I can't wait. It's been so long. Now there's literally no hockey on. I'm sure Andrew Day's managed to find some hockey. We're actually going to get Andrew Day on at some point as well, so he could learn a bit more and learn about the biggest English hockey fan. So
learn about
yeah,
the face of the National League.
the face in the National. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We've waffled on a bit now, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Peace.